On today's episode of I Grew Up in a National Dictatorship, so you know you're not in one, I want to tell you guys about 3 embarrassing stories of things that I did as soon as I arrived here to the United States. These, although somewhat funny, will highlight 2 major issues of living under a socialist/communist country. The first 2 stories will highlight how low a value system is because growing in a socialist/communist country, everyone is equally poor. And the last one will highlight the inevitable truth of how technology illiterate we are in Cuba because in a socialist/communist country, the Cuban people has just stayed behind with the time. It was December 7, 2007. The excitement of riding a plane for the first time was overshadowed by how tired I was from taking a plane from Cuba to Cancun, Mexico to Miami, Miami to Dallas, and lastly, Dallas to New Mexico. However, there was one thing that still remained: my excitement for eating plain food. You heard that right, because in every plane, except for the one that left Cuba, receiving a whole can of Coke to myself and a pack of cookie. Sweetest cookie I've ever tasted. Because in Cuba, I never had a can of Coke all to myself. I was excited to see that flight attendant with a car running down the aisle towards me. But that wasn't the embarrassing part. It stands to reason that to any Cuban, a can of Coke and that packet of cookie would have been an exquisite meal. The embarrassing part was when on that last flight from Dallas to Miami, there was a man sitting next to me who wasn't touching his cookie packet. I kept staring at it for the next 10 minutes. Finally, temptation got the best of me. Needing a reason to talk to him, I turned to my brother and I asked him, "Do you want to know how much English I've learned?" Which he replied yes. Then I turned to my side, looked at the man into his eyes and asked him, "Excuse me, are you gonna eat that cookie?" Question was met by a confused face. The man said no and then I asked him for it. My brother laughed at me as he realized right away I was just looking for an excuse to ask him for the cookies. But then he asked me for half of it. Because a packet of cookie was a huge deal to teenager me and my adult brother. We hadn't realized that that was our life now and we could have that cookie whenever we wanted to. A week after this incident, I was taking a stroll through my apartment and there I saw it. A brand new bike, unattended, waiting for me to steal it. Except it wasn't a brand new bike. It had a rusty handlebar and an all-person seat, and it was on the side of a dumpster. After waiting a few moments to see if someone was going to pick it up, I had realized someone really just threw a brand new bike away. Just a week after arriving from the United States, I already had a bike, the one that had speeds. In Cuba, that was a lifelong dream of mine. Although in hindsight, not finding that bike could have saved me from the embarrassment of my next story, the one that shows how technology illiterate I really was. Because now I had transportation, so I asked my dad for $1 and rode to the nearest McDonald's. I wanted to try, for the second time, a McDonald's burger. I arrived to the place. I didn't want to go inside and leave my bike outside. After all, that was a brand new bike and someone was gonna steal it, or so I thought. So I went through the drive-thru, but unbeknownst to me, the drive-thru was activated by a sensor plate that takes the weight of the car or motorcycle. I didn't know that. I thought that they knew someone was there, but the noise that the car was making. I can tell